Chuck Shoot Podcast. Very excited today. I have another guest who's in studio live with me here. My guest today, he has shared a stage with some great bands: Journey, the Foo Fighters, In Excess, Train, many, many more. He does over 300 shows a year. He's known as the marathon musician, which I'm going to explain. We'll get into that, I'm sure. Please welcome Lee Perriera. Lee,
Hey,
how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you.
Did I say your name right? I practiced it many.
You did.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. So how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man.
You got 300 shows a year, and 2 of them are today. You're doing 2 in one day, right?
Yeah, you're the meat in this relationship.
I'm used to being the meat, so yeah, that's great in the sandwich. So this is interesting. I know that you grew up with a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
That part is okay. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of people that have a single mom. But the part that was interesting to me is that she was really into 80s hair rock. So
yeah.
Are you a fan of 80s hair rock? And if so, which bands? Because I love butt rock or hair metal or whatever you call it.
Yeah, man. I grew up flipping through Metal Edge magazine.
I love Metal Edge,
yeah.
Jerry Miller and all
Yeah.
that. Oh, yeah.
I had, Slash on my wall. And so I grew up with music and guitar music, really, is what that was. So my mom really dug on she also liked David Bowie. So like if you throw all that together, there's lots of Aquanet. So
Definitely. It was the 80s, yeah.
It was. But she kind of liked the Pretty Boys. So,
Oh, sure.
So me personally, I like the Guns N' Roses, the Motley Crue, the Faster Pussycat, the LA Guns, like the more like straight rock and roll.
Sleazier kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little heavier.
Little heavier.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very cool. And then what? And so there are other early influences.
So
because you don't sound like LA Guns and Faster Pussycat now. So.
No. So it was that with my mom.
Yeah.
And then my grandfather was the only other musical influence, and that was classical music.
Oh.
So it was very diverse.
That's very eclectic,
that was it.
yeah.
And they both hated country. So, that was it. And then for me growing up, it was the 90s era. So the Nirvana, the Soundgarden, like that became my music.
Right, yeah.
And
I know that very well, living in Seattle. So.
Oh, yes, of course, of course.
But so what did you do for the first, did you play any music? Because you didn't start playing guitar until you were 12.
Correct.
So did you take any music lessons or piano or anything, or did you just not even really start to try to play an instrument until 12?
I always wanted to. So like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a cowboy when I was like elementary school. That was it. I wanted to ride bulls. I don't know why.
That's awesome.
And
That's
then,
every kid wants to be a cowboy or a cop, right?
Yeah.
Or a G.I. Joe. Yeah.
And so, but then after that was music. So for a very long time, I've wanted music. And back then, they didn't even have guitars that were smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, pride on my mom. My mom took me to a guitar store, and they put a guitar in my hand, and it was too long. I literally could, almost, and I wanted it so bad, And then a couple years went by, and, our life was kind of up and down. And my grandparents got me a mail-ordered guitar, like from a catalog.
Okay.
It's called the Terminator. It has a speaker built in the guitar, and it runs on a 9-volt battery.
Was it sponsored by Arnold Schwarzenegger or something?
No,
Did it have like, you push a button and it says like lines from his movies, like "I'll be back"?
No. And that was my introduction. I didn't know what to do with it. Oh. And then when I was 12 and in middle school, I met some kids who play guitar. And one day they were like, "Hey man, tablature?" I'm like, "No, what's that?" And they're like, "The 6th string, hit it open." And I'm like, "Well, which one's the 6th?" And they taught me Iron Man. And
that's awesome. Yeah, because like back then, I remember took guitar for a couple of years. I suck, but yeah, you had to buy the tablature books. Now I think you can just go online and you can get tablature for any song, I'm sure.
Yep.
So, but yeah, those were expensive too.
They were.
Yeah, but so then you didn't really start singing until you were age 17, and that's kind of when you were in the Pearl Jam and Nirvana stuff.
Yeah, and I was into the Pearl Jam, Nirvana stuff, Chili Peppers stuff when I first started playing at 12.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved out to Arizona when I was 15. And at 17...
From Long Beach, right? That's where you're originally from.
Yeah. And at 17, I met some musicians who were about like 24, 25. I was in a band just playing guitar. For them, they had a singer, and we did our thing, and that fell apart. And then I went back to those guys minus the singer, and at 19, I really started singing, and like I was far from good. Like I just always wanted to. And in that previous band, I would try to like sing backup, and they would be like, "Hey man," and rightfully so though.
Yeah.
Like
no, it's harder than it. I mean, because I had that guy in last week, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to sing backup on one of your songs because I know it." And I was like, "I'll sing the backup vocals," and I butchered it, man. It's tough. It's harder than I mean. You could sing it in the shower or your car, but that's different than actually doing it. And so, yeah, I mean, but your voice sounds really good now. I mean, you've totally taken over as lead vocalist.
It's been a process. Like I can remember some of the first times when someone came, because for years people come up and be like, "Man, you're a great guitar player," And I remember when it started shifting, people would come up and say, "Man, you're a great vocalist. You sound so great." And it made me feel weird at first. I was like, "Whoa, like, thank you. Oh, okay."
So originally though you weren't, so you just had to like practice and just kind of get it down then.
I'm not Mozart. I'm not Mariah Carey. I wasn't blessed with a gift of talent. I was blessed with a gift of drive.
You definitely have that, yeah. So, and then you went to Phoenix College, that was around age 26?
And that changed my life.
Yeah, so tell me about that. What did you learn from, because I feel like it's hard to teach people. I mean, I have a couple friends who are music teachers, but it's hard to teach, like you said, the talent. I mean, so if you have the drive, you learn those skills and practice them, or what did they teach you at the college?
More than anything, they taught me what it was to be a professional. At that time, I was in a band called Isle of Essence for about 9 years in town. That was the band I started when I first started singing. And as that band kind of fell apart, but also like we put out some records, we did some regional tours. I thought I was hot stuff, and I was like, man, I'm doing my thing, and I feel great, And then when that all fell apart, I fell apart. And I didn't know what to do. And then, through a few different twists and turns, college came to my life. I went to become a music major. I went there for 2 years. And at that time, flip-flops, jeans, T-shirt, paperboy hat every day of my life, and, living the dream. And I got there and like, cool, when you come do juries at the end of the semester, you need to have a suit on and you need to have some shoes. I literally pushed back. I was like, what, And but over those 2 years, all those professors, all those people, they changed my life. They taught me to treat the gig I have like the gig I want. So, if I'm going to go there, I'm going to maybe dress a little bit nicer than the gig requires, and start a little bit early or stay a little bit late, or make sure I'm friendly to the staff, and all these things matter as much as the music. If you don't connect with the people, then what is it for?
Absolutely. Like you won't get called back to a bar or club if you're rude to the staff or you're late or drunk or whatever. So
yeah, dude.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that too. That is something that's interesting. I was going to ask you about that, because you always, all the pictures that I've seen you performing, you're always wearing basically like a suit almost, right? I mean, you don't have a tie, but you dress nice. Like you dress formal.
For the most part, during the summertime, I get a little lax. Hauling gear in and out gets real sweaty. But I try to, because I do think it makes a difference. Dress for the job that you want.
Yeah.
And
I think it makes sense too on where you're playing, because you're playing at a lot of nicer I mean, I looked at your calendar and you're like these really nice resorts. I mean, even Cashmere's is it's more upscale bar, Scottsdale, kind of like a fancy wine bar. So you're playing at these nicer places. So you don't want to go in there in like a Metallica shirt, tank top or something that might not fit the venue.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're trying to create something that you want people people need to see it. So, if you're in a Metallica t-shirt, they're probably not going to picture you playing their corporate event. But if you're dressed nice and they dig you, they're like, man, we got this thing coming up in 6 weeks. I think you might be good for that. You have to show people.
Yeah. No, it's like you're really explaining the business side of that, because that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. It's a music business. So it's like you could be really talented, but if you're an asshole, and there's all those stories. There's so many stories of people with so much talent that didn't maybe go as far as they should because of all these other things that get in the way. So and you do originals and you do covers. So explain how that works with a gig. Like if they book you, do they book you for covers only, originals only, or is there some that you can do kind of mixed, or do you negotiate that? You say it's a covers gig, but can I do 2 originals, or how does that work?
One, when I go into a place, I'm their employee. So, if you pay $25 to see me at the Van Buren or something like that, I'm going to play my music, I'm going to do my thing,
Okay.
But wherever I am, basically I'm serving. I'm here to create the environment that this establishment wants, and they're paying me good money to do that, and I'm super grateful for that. Now, to answer your question, though, when I first started, I would just only play covers. I didn't think my originals fit that vibe.
Sure.
I've been doing this for a living now for 10 years, and over those 10 years, I've written a lot of songs. and I have songs.
100, I think. Is that?
Yeah, I have over 100 songs that aren't even recorded yet.
Oh. And you know 300 covers.
Yeah, I know over 300 covers.
That's a lot.
So in that, like, you know, I might play Gnarls Barkley Crazy, like my bluesy, funky version of it.
Yeah.
And then right after that, I might play a newer song I just wrote called Bonafide that is the same type of vibe.
Okay.
You know, so, and then I always make sure at the very least I'm doing 1 for 1 is what I call it.
Yeah,
And all these musicians that know me know I do this, where like I'm going to play you a song that you really dig on, you know, the crowd's gonna like, and everybody's gonna know and have a great time. And then I may, depending on the vibe, I may play one for me. I may play an original. I may play an obscure cover that I really like for my soul.
Yeah.
And then after that, I go right back to something they know, but I'm still creating the same vibe, whether or not they know it or not.
Yeah. So
I've
that's
seen
something
old people dance to Drake before.
To what?
To Drake.
Yeah.
And I guarantee they don't know it's Drake.
Yeah, no, but they know your style. So I mean, there's flexibility there. It's not the venues are usually not saying covers only and no originals. I mean, they kind of know what they're getting when they hire you.
Yeah, and I'm doing my best to be aware of what's appropriate. You know, so there are gigs where I don't play any covers.
Yeah.
There are gigs I don't play any originals.
Okay.
And then there's gigs where I might go 50-50 or you know what I mean? Or maybe 25-75 depending, you know. So it just really depends. Another thing, I think maybe 4 times in the last 8 years I've had a set list. Like I don't like set lists because
so you just fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, you know. When I sat in with Buddy Guy, I got up on stage. I turned to the keys player and I say, "Hey man, what key is this next song gonna be in?" You know, like I'm about to sit in, and the guy just goes, "Oh man." But we don't know. Buddy just plays, and then we just play with him. And I was like, shit.
Yeah,
man. Like,
right.
Oh, man.
No, so let's talk about that. So you got the jam on, not only, I mean, when I talk about share the stage, usually I mean like you're open for somebody, but you actually got to jam literally on the same stage at the same time with Buddy Guy. It kind of, and I watched the video of this, it kind of, I love these kind of guitar battles. It kind of reminds me of the movie with Ralph Macchio, Crossroads. Yes, you ever seen that movie?
Of course.
Love that movie. He goes into that blues bar.
Steve
Vai. He has the battle with Steve Vai. I think Steve Vai I think he's kind of like the devil in that movie.
Yeah, he is.
But it's so cool. It's like this guitar showdown, and I love that stuff.
All the guitar work in that movie was actually Steve Vai.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
but throughout the whole movie,
not Ralph Macchio. I think
no.
He probably had someone else. Probably Steve Vai was doing his part too. But so Buddy Guy was 89 at the time you played with him.
Yeah.
And
he turned 90 the next month.
So didn't you asked him, you're like, because you were just supposed to open for him, and you're like, hey, can I come on stage with you? And he just goes, I don't give a shit. Like,
yeah. He said, we were in the back room. I got to meet him and, thank him. He was so cool. Like, I started with like, thank you so much for the opportunity to open, and And he didn't want to hear it. So he's like, come on, sit down. So I sat down, and he just said, where are you from? It happened so quick. He said, where are you from? I said, Long Beach, California. He said, oh. He's like, John Lee Hooker's from Long Beach. And then I'd seen John Lee Hooker when he was 92 at Celebrity Theater, and I was like, oh, man. I saw John Lee Hooker, at Celebrity Theater before he passed away. I go, and the only song that he stood up for was Boogie Chillin'. And Buddy goes, oh, man, Boogie Chillin' is the first song I ever learned on the guitar.
Wow.
And right then I said, hey, buddy, I got like 3 rows of family and friends right up front. I go, you think it'd be possible if I could sit in with you on a song? And then he paused, and it was the longest like 3 seconds of my life. And then he said, I don't give a shit, let's do it.
Wow, that's a pretty ballsy move though to ask. I mean, what if it backfired? Like, did you plan this out ahead of time? Like, or did you just think about that on the spot?
I visualized it. I wanted it to happen
like days before, weeks before.
The minute that I got the opportunity confirmed, I visualized it. Coming from the blues roots, is just a thing, Like we all jam together, and so I love Buddy's music so much. He's like a darker style blues, and it like resonates with my soul, and so like. Just that, when am I gonna get that opportunity, And if we back it up some, when I asked so the guitar tech loved me. I asked the guitar tech. The guitar tech said, you got to talk to Max, the manager. We went and talked to Max, the manager, and Max said, no.
Oh.
Buddy doesn't let nobody sit in with him that he doesn't know. And I said, okay, no problem at all. You think there's any way I could just meet him and thank him? And he said, okay.
But then he knew you, so then, okay, there you go. And then, yeah, because like that would have been, you kind of put him on the spot, because what's he going to say? No? Like,
well, and what was amazing and what's not on the video and what doesn't get talked about much, and I don't even remember it much, I did that song with him. He featured me on that song.
Yeah.
And then that song ended. And I was playing this red guitar, and I went to take this red guitar off and thank the band.
Yeah.
Because they were so gracious to allow
me. And they let you sit in for another half an hour or something, wasn't it?
I played the whole rest of the night with them.
Yeah.
I was just part of Buddy's band the next 30 minutes until Buddy left.
So cool.
And then the other guitar player, Rick Jazz, phenomenal guitar player, humble dude. You know, now the band, when Buddy leaves at the end of the night, they're taking their shine. You know, keys players taking his solo, bass player taking his solo. Now Rick Jazz is taking his guitar solo, and he invites me up to come play with him again. You know, so they were so humble and gracious. It was such a beautiful experience.
That's very cool, very cool. So besides Buddy Guy, I mean, you didn't actually get to jam with these other bands, but you played with Gary Clark Jr. You opened for him? Or
yeah, on the Foo Fighters Gary Clark Jr. tour.
Yeah, so that was a 2-for-1. That was Foo Fighters and Gary Clark.
Yeah, and then that was the first time that I got to meet Gary too. And again, it's just positioning, man. Like the people I wanna meet and the people I'm inspired by, like I try to meet them. So like at that show, I got there so early.
Sure,
I was completely set up and just waiting.
Yeah. How did you get that gig in the first place?
I don't even know now. It's through I'm drawing a blank. It's one of the main.
Like, is this something where the bands reach out and say we need a local act, and then somebody else?
No, it's through the God, I can't think of it right now. It's like some big booking company, and like they have shows like it's like always like they run America Theater and they run Ak-Chin. So you know they were coming through Ak-Chin, needed somebody to come in. That's what I do. Like I was just there for.
So again, this goes back to being in good and being professional, and they know that this guy's going to show up. You know, you're going to put on a good show. You're going to, be professional, and so
yeah, man,
awesome. So that reputation helped you land that gig.
That one for sure.
Yeah,
Like they reached out to me, and
very cool.
Of course.
Yeah. What are you going to say now? Were you kind of floored when they asked you, like, hey, do you want to open up for the Foo Fighters? It's pretty crazy.
You know, when you do these a lot, like the opening slots are pretty mellow, and nobody's really there yet. So like, you know, I've never, the only time I ever got nervous about anything in my entire life when it comes to music was like about a week before the Buddy thing.
Okay.
Because I had been visualizing being up there, and for a brief little bit, I thought, what if I didn't know the key? And what if he throws me the solo and I'm not ready? And I don't, and I'm fumbling around. And
I was going to ask you, if you got nervous, like, did you rehearse extra for that or
no? I with the whole like I don't bring set lists and stuff like that. Like, it's in the daily work.
Sure,
you know?
Sure.
So,
because you're doing 300 shows a year, so
yeah, and every day I'm practicing vocal runs and practicing guitar stuff and making myself uncomfortable and doing things that I'm not good at. So like by doing all that stuff, when I get on stage and I'm playing with my guys, like it's home, you know?
Right, totally. So there was Foo Fighters and Gary Clark. The Fray, was that?
I don't even remember that.
You don't remember that one?
Yeah.
Really? What about In Excess? That's a pretty big band.
So that sounds cooler than it was. Do you remember when
when they had the replacement singer?
Yes, and they did that whole TV show thing.
To hire his singer.
Yeah, and so we opened for that band, and it was just a train wreck. That guy was a train wreck.
Really?
Like there was just lots of drama and issues.
Interesting. Is he still the replacement band?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. What was the drama and the issues?
I don't know, but like he was like freaking out and throwing stuff and like
really,
like this was before anybody played, you know, like super early.
Wow.
And it was just I don't know what was going on, but we did what we were supposed to do.
Okay.
And then we watched a little bit of them, and then we left.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Well, yeah, because I was a big fan of them in the 80s. Of the original
the
singer.
iconic, like
it's hard to replace a singer like that.
Thank you. Yeah. Or like Scott Weiland or some of these like other bands. Like I get it. Like you you still want to play those songs and people want to hear it, but that's really hard
Yeah.
to replace like iconic singers, you know?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And then so when you opened for Journey, was Steve Perry? Was that a replacement singer
That
as
was,
well?
but he kills it. Like it's
yeah,
that
like
I don't know his
Filipino
name.
guy? Yeah.
Oh my God.
I heard he sounds exactly like Steve Perry.
Bro, he is smashing it, bro. Smashing. Like, close your eyes, dude. Like, it don't matter.
Yeah.
I would, and that's I would never say that.
Right.
Like, he murders.
No, that's
it.
everyone I've heard.
It's insane.
Talked
dude.
to about it has said the exact same thing you're saying right now. So I need to check. Were you able to meet Journey and on set? No.
I'm not allowed to meet or interact with any of them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting because I talked to a comedian and he said, like, whenever he does a show and he opens, like, all the comedians are always in the green room together, and it's like it's rare if they're not. So with bands, it's like they have their own separate dressing room.
I have different access too. So like I'm local.
Huh.
And they're touring. So like how I met Gary the first time was I was set up so early, and
Gary
like,
Clark Jr.
Yeah, and there's inside pavilion is where all like the dressing rooms are,
Mm-hmm.
and outside I have access to because I can load in.
Yeah.
Well, that's where their buses come in.
Okay.
So I just chilled outside
Gotcha.
in the heat
That's
and
smart.
just waited, you know.
Yeah.
And then he rolled off the bus.
Yeah.
him and
Well,
it-
and we're going to talk more about your devotion to meeting people, but the last band that I was going to ask you about was Train.
Oh,
Yeah.
they were awesome.
Did you get to meet them at all? Or
No. It doesn't happen too often.
Okay.
And like I have to be available to like really try to be.
Which
somewhat
show
early.
was that at Auction or?
Yeah, most of these are
I
auctions.
wonder what year that was because I went to one of those. So like his wife is my brother's wife's sister, if that makes any sense. So like I'll see him occasionally at like
Okay.
at like so yeah, basically like my brother's wife's sister is married to him. So like I'll see him at like occasionally at Christmas things. He's like super down to earth, like nice, chill guy. So
That's cool.
But that sucks that you guys didn't you didn't come over and like
I did get to meet the guys from 30 Seconds to Mars.
Oh,
Jared Leto and his brother.
Jared Leto?
Yeah.
Dude, he's a big star. I'm surprised he would meet not so much for his music,
but
not as much.
all that's luck too. You know what I mean? Like it's just positioning. You know,
Mhm.
trying to be there. And him and his brother are walking through, and you know, said hello, and I gave him a CD, and his brother, the drummer, was like who smashes too. He was like so cool, like just like man, like really hope like you move forward in your career, like so awesome. The brother's vibe was like so genuine and awesome.
That's
and
cool.
Jared was super cool too, but like his
Yeah.
brother was so genuine that it just stood out, you know.
That's very cool. Yeah, I think I mean I like some of his music, but as an actor, I think
Oh,
he's
my God.
insanely talented. So very cool. So with all these bands that you played with, I always wondered this. Like, I always like to ask musicians this thing because I'm always fascinated because I was never a rock star or anything or in bands or got to play these cool shows. Like, so there are a lot of. I know you're like, are you engaged or married?
I'm engaged.
Engaged still. Okay. Was there a lot of girls like throwing themselves at you throughout the years, being in a band? Like, you're a good looking guy. Like, does that happen a lot, or is that just in the movies and stuff?
When I think a lot of it has to do with your vibe.
Yeah.
You know, when I was single, you know, I would have fun, and for lack of better words, fun was available.
Sure.
But you know, like I don't really get a lot of that, and I think it's because of the vibe that I put off. You know, like it happens occasionally.
Yeah.
But straight up, like maybe a handful of times a year, and I'm playing 300 gigs. You know, and but it's that vibe. You know, maybe there's like situations that could develop into something. You
Yeah.
know? But like I handle it appropriately, or like I keep a certain distance. You know, that most of the times when it's pretty forward, they might be pretty drunk.
Yeah.
So
Right.
then you know I just maneuver or you know leave the situation. I'll go use the restroom for a minute. And
Yeah.
I'll come back and I'll you know finish doing whatever I was doing. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So-
No, that's interesting. So I know that you said that you removed alcohol from your life. So is there a story there? Because I mean that's got to make it hard playing in all these bars and clubs that serve alcohol, and you're not drinking.
That's funny. You did some good research, bro.
I hear that a lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do other people not do research when they interview?
I've just never been researched this in depth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or maybe
Take it as a compliment. I
no,
guess?
no,
Okay.
that's awesome. Or maybe this wide of a spectrum.
Okay.
You're kind of really hitting on a lot of different things, which I love. This is
Yeah.
awesome. You know.
Yeah.
Basically, you would think something terrible happened, and you know, sometimes that's what it takes. But it's been a progression for me over time. You know, something that drastically changed my life is, you know, let's see, like 25 months ago, I just got out of prison for a DUI.
Oh.
And, you know, I fought the DUI for 3 years in court. It's something that I'm not interested in talking about at this time.
Sure.
Just because, like, I don't want to get into this, like, poor me, like, I didn't deserve it or something like that. You know?
Right.
But what happened was I went to prison. And in prison is where I ran my first marathon. So it really kind of changed my life. You know, it never want to do it again. It was awful. But, you know, it's 4 months of thinking, 4 months of figuring out what is important, you know. And then, you know, I got out and moved forward with my life, and I just got to a certain point where it's like I got too much on the line, and I got too much going on that's positive to not be ready for an opportunity. And so what really drove home to me was, if somebody were to call me today or this morning or tomorrow or wherever, am I ready?
Yeah.
Am I hungover, or am I, you know, not handling my business? So I made a commitment in my life to get up early every day, to jog, to swim, to meditate, to say daily affirmations, to read. I hate reading. I hate getting up early. I hate running. Like, it's crazy. Like, but these are the things that have changed my life.
Interesting. That reminds me of the guy from Def Leppard, Phil Collen, the guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
So he was like the same, because Def Leppard they were pretty hard partying band, but I know the guitar player, I think they all kind of went sober as they got older, but especially guitar player, he talked about that, how he gave up drinking, and then he's like, well, now I had all this like time to do stuff. So he's like, so I started getting up early, and he started running and started exercising. And I think he's also a vegan now, but if you look at him, he's the only like 50 or 60, I don't know how old he's an old man. He's playing the guitar with his shirt off, and he's ripped. I mean, he's more ripped than I am, and I'm like 20 years younger. So it's like, I don't know, that is kind of an interesting thing that, I mean, it can, especially from a health perspective, it can definitely make a difference.
And it wasn't easy. You know, it was uncomfortable to be in bars and not drink. It was uncomfortable to be with friends and musicians who I was used to drinking with, or bartenders would be like, "Oh, you know, whatever it is, you want a Jaeger or whatever, you know." So it's been a transition.
Do you get free drinks when you play?
A lot of places, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which
so now you just can I have that money instead?
Yeah,
right?
I know. Can I just get the $50 tab? You just get him the 50.
Yeah.
So I'm only recently getting to the point where, like, I'm really enjoying what has been a long process of creating. For a long time, it was hard. It was hard at times, you know. And yeah.
Well, that explains too then why you do ride shares everywhere. You don't drive anymore, right?
No, I finally will get my license back in April of next year, and it will have been over 6 years since I've driven.
Wow.
Because I fought my case for 3 years, and then I lost, and then they revoked my license from then for 3 years. So
that's crazy. So, but you were recently in a car accident. So are you feeling okay from that? Like everything's still play and everything?
I mean, like I can't run right now. I can't do any impact exercising. There was a couple of weeks where I was in severe pain. Like, basically, I was in the back of a lift. They lost their brakes, slammed into a parked truck. And 5 days later, I rolled over in bed at 6 a.m. and my neck adjusted, and all of a sudden just pain. And so, you know, I had to lawyer up, and I've been in treatment for 6 weeks now, and you know, I don't know when that's going to end.
Wow.
But it started something else, though. You know, I've been researching fasting, and so I think today's the 22nd day in a row I've been fruit fasting. Because fasting is supposed to help your body heal. Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So digestion takes up about 85, 87% of the body's energy.
Oh, that's, and like meat, if to digest a piece of meat takes a lot of energy. So you just eat fruit? Is that what fruit fasting is?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm trying to go 30 days, and I'll make it.
So you're hungry though, Or
I mean, yeah, there are ups and downs. Straight up,
Yeah.
I'm more irritable at times. You know,
Okay.
the hangry's real.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm getting through it, and you know, I think that my body is appreciating it, and
Yeah.
you know,
Do you do a lot of smoothies then? Is that
Yes.
okay? That's great. I
Yes,
love
yes.
smoothies. Awesome.
well, dude, if without the smoothie, it'd be even rough. It'd
Yeah,
be
that'd
way
be-
rougher.
That'd be harder.
But
So
tomatoes, avocados, mangoes, bananas, apples. I mean, this.
that's good. So in addition to the playing the music, now you also, or you used to, I don't know if you still do guitar lessons. You still do that?
Not anymore.
Not anymore? Okay.
There's a super talented young girl. She goes by Jules. I've given her a few lessons recently. She comes and sits in and plays with me, and she's super talented and super awesome. She deserves the attention, and so her family asked me, and so we did like a session like 3 weeks in a row, and I like taught her some skills that could take to the next level, and then you know we talked about revisiting that down the road, but I haven't done that like legit teaching in probably like 5-6 years.
Oh, okay. So what is your daily routine and habits like? Because I'm looking at your calendar, and it seems like you just have so many shows lined up with the 300. Like you said, you don't really rehearse or practice that much. Is it just basically practicing every night?
With my band?
Yeah. Or by yourself? Like, do you?
Oh yeah, no. So part of my like morning routine is, you know, I practice the guitar at things I'm not good at, and I practice singing at things I'm not good at.
Okay.
And so I do that every day.
Yeah.
And then and I include that with like my morning routine of like reading, and right now I'm swimming because I can't run, and stuff like that. So like every day is my goal is to try to get all of that stuff done by 9 a.m.
Wow. So there was another habit that was part of your routine. I don't know if you still do this either, but you were talking about how you would send out 200 messages 1 or 2 times a month to all the venues or people that you wanted to play with.
That's how I got started.
Okay.
So
200, is it emails or?
Back then like Facebook was hot.
Yeah.
You know, it was pre-Instagram.
Okay.
And every like venue and restaurant and casino ever had Facebook pages. So I drafted like a nice, concise, you know, paragraph about who I was. You know, here's a couple of links of what I do, and I would love to play your venue.
And then you just cut and paste and.
I mean, I got Facebook, you know, shut me down all the time.
Nuh-uh, seriously?
Yeah, just, you know, I was copying and pasting too fast and whatever.
I didn't know they could do that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
interesting. But
well,
that's hardcore,
you've never blasted
man.
for a show.
200 messages. That's crazy. But it worked because, I
worked.
mean, you're lined up now. I mean, look at your calendar. Like, you're busy. You're a working musician. It's pretty cool. So I want to talk more about the persistence because besides sending the messages to venues, you really want to play the rock and roll marathon. So you emailed them a few times, and they didn't really respond. And then, so you just showed up at their office.
Yeah.
Like, were people calling security when you just showed up at the office? Like,
No, so the first time I showed up at the office, it was pretty awkward. You know, and I'm
because they're like, who is this guy? Like, you
Yeah.
didn't have an appointment or anything.
no.
Didn't tell them you were coming by.
No. So I just, you know, knocked and walked in. And
No, what is their office? Is this like a small little?
Yeah,
like,
it's like in like
an
the
office
old town Scottsdale area. And it was like one of those like homes on a main street that's like an office.
Oh, okay.
And so the parking was around back. We drove around the alley. You know, my fiance took me, and I was like, I gotta go. Yeah, take me there. You know.
I love this story. It's
And
so great.
So I walk in, and the main people that I was like emailing weren't there because they do the rock and roll marathon all over the world.
Oh,
So they're the one they do rock and roll Vegas, rock and roll Cali, or whatever.
Because it goes, they travel. It's only here once a year.
So I went there, and a lot of staff was out of town because it was, I think it was like Thursday or Friday. So they traveled to wherever city they were going to do.
Sure.
So there was some a girl in there, and you know she was doing stuff, and she's like, hi. And I was like, hey, my name's Lee Perriera. I've been emailing Shelby and about possibly playing at the Rock and Roll My Friend. She's like, oh, well, she's not here right now. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, you mind if I just, you know, leave a card and you could tell her I stopped by? And she said, yeah. I just still didn't hear anything. And then on my birthday, November 30th, I said, she's like, what do you want to do for your birthday, my fiance? I was like, I want you to take me back to the office.
He went back after okay.
And,
all right.
and straight up, I'm like, if I got pulled the guilt, like, it's my birthday today. Come on.
That is great. That is genius, though. Wow.
So I went
like
there,
that.
I knocked, and the person that I was trying to talk to, Shelby, was there. And she came out, and she said, oh, my God.
Does she remember you?
She just knew the name because I had been trying to email.
Oh,
her.
okay.
So she came out and she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, we've just been super busy, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I was planning on getting back to you today, actually. She's like, but we're super interested in it. And I think it will work out, you know? And then that was it.
Awesome. Wow. That's very cool. So how do you differentiate persistence with annoyance? Do you ever feel like you've reached that bubble where they're like, ooh, maybe I'm like annoying this person?
My fiance helps me with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Aren't women great for that?
Oh,
my
yeah.
girlfriend does the same thing. Like, she'll tell me, she's like, yeah, you should probably not do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
and
I
then
didn't know.
When I still do it, then we realize she was right anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, where were we at? I totally lost it right now.
Just about persistence versus annoyance. Yeah.
I think being friendly helps, you know, and being understanding helps, you know, and just hanging around, you know, just being around. Like when I went to the office, like super friendly, cool, awesome, you know, like not trying to whatever. Every time,
not being pushy.
Yeah, just
Okay.
there you go. Not pushy, but present,
Persistent. Yeah.
And to me, that's somewhere between 10 and 14 days.
10 and 14 days in a row, or what? Like, what do you mean?
Between.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fair. So like with all you had, like, it seems like you're so driven. You have this persistence to be a full-time musician. Did you ever just think, because it seems like a lot of people are talented with music, like we said, but other things get in the way. But a lot of times not even necessarily problems, but more just like they need to get a job and work. Did you ever think of just, I should probably just get a day job and do the music on the side? Like, why were you so hell-bent on, I'm going to do this full time? And you pretty much achieved that. I mean, you're doing it full time, but was there ever a point where you said, ooh, maybe I just need to, go work in an insurance company and do the, music on the weekends?
Nope. Very simple. No.
Wow. So, and it's always been that way since basically kind of like when you were around a teenager, when you started playing music in bands?
So, more and more now, just trying to like listen to the universe's signs.
Yeah.
Because they're totally real.
Mm-hmm.
And the last job I had,
Is this the call center?
I did air quotes on a podcast just in case y'all are wondering.
Was this the call center? Because I got to ask about that.
Yeah. So
that was after college?
No, that was before college.
Oh, it was before college.
That's what sent me into college.
Oh.
So I had got laid off from my job, and I was unemployed for about 9 months. And during that time, it was real rough. And I got a call center job. There were 3 government call center contracts, and I got placed on student loans and grants. And to do that job, you had to fill out an application for the student grants and loans, so that way you could walk people through it. Mm-hmm. Well, I was unemployed for 9 months previously, so I qualified for everything.
Qualified yourself?
Yes. Yeah. So the job was horrible, and it was summertime. So as soon as semester started, I put my 2 weeks in.
Nice. Okay. And then so with that financials, that like paid the bills and stuff too.
So it was a rough, probably 3 to 4 years. So 2 years I was in college. I mean, for real, like I had my Chevy Tahoe that I was making payments on when I had my regular job. Now I'm, going to school and living off grants and loans. And like, I'm telling you, I parked in this cul-de-sac, and it was an apartment complex. Every now and then you'd hear a tow truck chain hit the ground. And I thought they were repoing my car because I was floating between that like 45, 60-day window because I was hurting. And that's when I was hustling. I was going to school. When I first started going to school, within the first 2 months, I got my first student to teach guitar. And I got my first gig. I got a Thursday bistro gig at a place called Mumbles. So I had my first ever regular residency gig, my first ever student. And there was a sign. And so by the end of my 2 years of school, I had over 20 students, and that was because I was religiously posting on Craigslist twice a week, the same draft, but I just had a reminder Tuesday and Friday. Every Tuesday and Friday, I put this draft out. I post about guitar lessons, and then I started that blast thing, and I was gigging 3, 4, 5 nights a week, and having 20 students and a full-time student in college.
Wow.
And in my 4th semester, I went personally to each professor, and I said, hey, I'm going to be dropping out. I really appreciate you all have changed my life. I wanted you to hear it from me. I'm like, but I've got this many students and this many things, and I need to go where the money is right now.
Gotcha.
And
so you didn't finish your degree, but
No.
You learned enough to do what you want to do, which is music.
And they changed my life, and they know it. Just back in January, I went there and gave a free, actually out of my pocket, I paid my musicians $100 each because their time is valuable. And they came and, I did a presentation at Phoenix College. We played a few songs. I talked about my life and my journey and how much this college changed my life.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really neat. So, and I know when you played with Buddy Guy, I saw a pic of that on, I think it was on one of your social media things. And it was like just before you opened for, or just before you went on stage or whatever, and just said, there was only one word on the post. It just said grateful. And so I've heard a lot of successful people say that's one of the keys to success is having a lot of gratitude. Can you tell me like what gratitude means to you and how that's helped you with your success?
Yeah.
You even posted about that today too, didn't you?
All the time. I'm grateful every day. There's two things. One, over time, I feel like I've learned that you can't simultaneously be grateful and upset. And so when I am upset, I try to ground myself in gratefulness. It's all about shifting my mind.
Yeah.
And, when I was running the marathons, my body hurt way more when my mind was being negative.
Mm-hmm.
And when my mind was positive, my body hurt significantly less. So gratefulness has taught me a lot. And to get deep here for a second, I lost my only brother to drugs. And that's when I learned gratefulness.
I'm sorry to hear that. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, it's awful.
Yeah.
But losing him opened my eyes to what I have. And, I miss him every day. I wouldn't trade that gratefulness to have him back.
Right.
But that's when I learned, I have a beautiful life. My legs work. I can run. I'm here in this beautiful place with you talking about my life because people are interested in it. Like, how amazing is that? How crazy is that? I have equipment sitting downstairs in your place right now that costs a decent amount of money.
It doesn't look cheap.
And I've worked for it and I've earned it, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. And
so when I put myself there, I'm a better friend. I'm a better fiance. I'm a better person. And it's become very real to me. And there's been so many significant things that have changed my life. And gratefulness is something that is very real to me, and it's very deep to me. It's as deep as it gets.
That's very cool. Wow. That was a great answer to that question. So now I got to ask you about, I guess this is kind of like a two-part thing because we got to talk about Ellen and we got to talk about the marathon. So they call you the marathon musician because you ran 16 marathons in 16 days, which sounds like you basically pulled a Forrest Gump. Like you ran from Phoenix to Burbank, which is insane to me. Like, I mean, I know Forrest Gump ran across the country, but I think,
I'm sure before
going
I
420
pass,
miles.
Happen.
What?
I'm sure before I pass, that'll happen.
Oh, really? You can do the full country?
There's a lot of crazy ideas in my head now.
I don't doubt you for a second. I think you'll do it. So you did this because you wanted to get on the Ellen show, right?
So that there's a few different aspects. So like, I really dig Ellen. Like, that's just the truth. Like, she is so positive and so funny, and that's what this world needs. And it's so cool. Like, if you want a great steak, I'm going to go to Ruth Chris, If I want to feel good, if I want to laugh, I can go to Ellen. And, like, I really dig that. And, like, from where I've come from in my life, single mom, alcoholic family, she's sober and beautiful now, and we have a great relationship. But I came from a lot of darkness, and she's a lot of light. And I really appreciate that. And so she's helped her inspiration, this thing called a panda planner that keeps me accountable every day, and this commitment to bettering my life is what's changed everything. And so, as a musician, always looking for, like, what would be an awesome opportunity. Like, I don't think there's any opportunity that could possibly be better for me than Ellen, because she's inspired me so much. And so it'd be my dream to meet her. And so what I did was one day I was like, well, man, she inspired me so much. Like, I'm just going to hop on her website and look around. Like, whatever. And so on her website, there's like a link that takes you, and it's like 15 different things of like, if you know a teacher who's so awesome and deserving to have her student loans forgiven or like paid off, like tell us about it. Submit here. Did your dog or cat do something crazy? Submit it here. And then there was one that said, do you want Ellen to make your dreams come true?
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, dude. Hell yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what the hell am I going to do? You know,
Right.
I don't know what. Let me just tell her, like, hey, my name is Lee. Like,
Right.
I think you're awesome. Can we hang out? And so I started submitting. So every day, I think it was like September 13th or something like that, I started. And every single day, I did a video blog of what I was doing that day. And I went on our website and I submitted. And I wrote why I want to be on there. I did this video blog, and all the video blogs are on my YouTube.
Yeah, I saw some of them. Yeah.
And some days I was exhausted, bro. And I'm like, oh, Ellen, like, I'm on like the couch laying down with my dog. And other days, I was donating my time at an Alzheimer or dementia facility, or donating my time for the Arizona Cancer Foundation. And it's like, it also started making me aware of what I was doing. It started making me aware of the impact I was already having. And so all this stuff started spinning. And on New Year's Eve, I had this idea to get her attention. I'm like, and I said it on my blog. I'm like, maybe I'll just run to Burbank. And this was on New Year's Eve. And I told my fiance, and she's like, okay, And then, 3 months later, I was doing it. And I continued that everyday thing throughout that process.
Yeah.
And, my goal was to raise $1 million for 4 charities, hers being one of them, because she inspired this whole thing.
Right.
I didn't take a dime from anything. We raised over $15,000, and I just handed out the third check. I still have the check for her, and I'm not going to hold it hostage forever. I've just kind of been letting it play out as it's been playing out. I gave a check to Chrysalis, and then gave a check here, and so I just gave out the third one, and so now it's the fourth one. I know her next season's starting in like 9 days or something like that. And, I believe dreams come true, and I believe in persistence. And,
no, that's
we'll
very cool. So what do your feet feel like after running or walking on pavement all day? And then at the end of the 16 days, did you get a foot massage at the end of that?
No, don't touch them. Oh my God. Please don't touch them.
It was all blistered up and stuff?
No, just, the last 2 days were the worst. I learned real quickly softer ground was much nicer.
Oh, yeah.
So when I really got closer to Burbank and I was in the city and having to run on the concrete more, it hurt. And the last 2 days, when I got home, actually the last little bit, last 3 days, 4 days, we stayed with my mom. She lives in Long Beach.
Okay.
And day 15 and 16, like, it felt like I wanted to throw up if I stood up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a system with your girlfriend where you would go the 16 miles and then she would pick you up at a checkpoint, and then you guys, get a hotel or something?
So the first part of it looked like I left my front door. I ran 27 miles. She picked me up at that checkpoint. We went home. I ice bath. She fed me. Like she literally took care of me. And then, the next day, she'd drive me out to that checkpoint, 27 miles away. I'd run another, whatever that day called for, 26 or 28. Some days were different. And then, then she picked me up again. So at around day 6, it's kind of like a tipping point. She's doing hours and hours of driving now.
That's true.
Driving out there, driving back to get me, then driving back.
So, and then there was one point where you decided, for whatever reason, you go, I'm not going to take the regular route. I'm going to take a detour. And you went like, I don't know, what was it, 10 or 15, 20 miles, 5 miles out. You went out of the way, and your girlfriend or your fiance was waiting for you, and you didn't have cell service, or she didn't have cell service.
Yeah.
So you're like 4 hours late to the checkpoint. Did she like basically murder you after that, or?
She, so the reason I turned is intuition again. Like, I don't know, I was going through the San Bernardino Mountains where I was supposed to turn on this other trail. It just literally looked like Camelback on steroids with snow at the top.
All right.
And I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I didn't do no tour to make sure what these routes look like. I didn't have time for that. And so you know, I decided to go a different way.
Did you know the way? Like, did you use
had
a
a
GPS or map?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I just searched through on the
Awesome.
map, and I was like, that is the way I'm supposed to go, but that doesn't look safe or right to
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
It was like dusk, you know, and it's just like,
Oh.
oh man, I'm a Cali boy, Arizona
Yeah.
boy. I don't know about snow. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the trail.
Right.
This could go
Okay.
bad. And so if I went 12 miles more that way, I get to Big Bear, and there was residential, you know?
Oh,
So like
okay.
I felt safer.
Safer, sure.
But then I got there, and she doesn't have service. And like our whole thing was like, don't leave the checkpoint.
Okay.
Like, let me come to you, because then if you're looking for me and I get there and
Right.
I'm hurting
Okay.
and
That makes
devastated
sense,
from
yeah.
like the day, and like
Right.
just trust me. And
She must have been freaking out.
so you know, first hour,
Yeah.
trust the universe.
Yeah.
Second
sure.
hour, little word. Third hour, freaking out. She drove back down the mountain an hour to get service. She got service when I was 0.3 miles away from the checkpoint. So then
Race back.
she had to spend another hour driving up, and I waited for her. And
Okay.
that day I went over 45 miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang. That's crazy.
And what's
dude.
crazy is when your mind has to do it,
Yeah.
like it sucked.
Yeah.
But
I just can't even imagine. I mean, I hate running so much. I like swimming. I can swim. That's kind of my thing. When I run, there's like this psychological thing for me where I just go, I hate running. I hate running. And I don't mean to tell myself that, but I just go, oh, I hate this. I hate this. And it just like, it's like goes on a loop in my mind. So that's crazy to think 45 miles. It's just insanity to me. So there must be what do you call it? Those things that kick in the endorphins or whatever, right? And it just powers you through, right?
When you're running for a purpose or a reason. So like, obviously there are days that, you know, I'm running for kids with cancer, and I'm running for people who have been abused and stuff. And so I definitely tapped into the reasons, you know? And so on that day, it was rough because like I knew she was stressing. How could she not be stressing?
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Now it's pitch black night. Like when she called me, and I was almost at checkpoint, it was like 11:45 at night. So we're on a mountain road, darkness. You know,
Scary.
of course she's worried, you know?
Yeah.
And like, man, in those moments, like there was times where I obviously could have been scared. And I obviously could have been in a
I'd
bad
be freaking out.
yeah. And I had the thing that really brought me back was I was doing something to better the world, right?
Perfect.
So then I needed to trust that the world had my back. And you know what? It did.
There you go. That worked out. Well, very cool. Well, I also want to talk. We kind of got off track and it's my fault because this other stuff
dude,
is
I'm a rambler, bro.
Your life is like so interesting to me. But you do have a new album out. It's called "What's That Got to Do with My Dreams."
Yeah.
It's recorded in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I think the new songs, and tell me if I'm wrong, but it kind of has like a Jack Johnson feel to it, or
Some of it does, yeah.
some of it. It's playing on over 100 stations across the country.
Yeah.
And then I want to ask you about this. So you said something about there was some placement contracts, like 14 for TV, including NASCAR and the Kardashians. Did any of those actually come to fruition?
The thing with those is I don't know. So like
Okay.
what they do is they clear music for seasons. So my understanding of it is that when they're filming and editing and doing all this stuff, the very last thing they do is place music in the episodes, no matter what it is.
So they buy the music before.
Yeah.
And do you get paid?
So then I get paid on the back end.
Oh, you get paid on the back end. So before
If I was a big artist, I would get paid on the front end.
Oh. So you only get paid if they actually use it.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. And then I don't know they use it until I get my I think it's like every 6 months I get a report from ASCAP, and then I'll see.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. That's
Actually,
so cool.
I should really look into that because I would like to see.
That would be cool though. If you know, I'm not a Kardashians fan, but I know my girlfriend is. So if she saw your music, and that'd be pretty neat.
Yeah. And I was just I was in Chattanooga in June.
Yeah.
Recording 3 new singles. One of them will be coming out this year for sure.
Awesome. Well, do you want to play a song now? I know we're getting a little short on time, but do you think we have time to
Yeah, of course.
do a tune?
You want to hear the new single?
Whatever you want to play, man.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to promote. I think there was one of them was called, I think it was Puppets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. Is that the new single or?
No. I mean, like I recorded.
Oh, this
the
is
stuff
this is
that-
even
no, it's not
been
even out.
released.
This
Oh.
would be the first time. It's
Okay,
ever
this is
been-
world premiere on the
This-
Chuck Shoot podcast.
Yeah.
It's amazing. All right.
Yeah, so this song's called Doctor's Orders.
Okay, let me turn your guitar up here. Maybe I should turn my mic down so I don't ruin it.
Yeah, this is called Doctor's Orders. I just recorded in June in Tennessee, and be coming out later this year.
That was also at Chattanooga?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome team out there. Super humble, talented people there. I'm blessed and grateful to work with them. And a little spin, and I didn't realize it till we were recording. I did 3 songs, but this song in particular, this is the first song that was written in prison that is going to be recorded and released.
Oh, very cool.
I wrote 20 songs when I was in there.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to get my phone out. I think I'm going to take video of this too, so we can have it for the YouTube channel.
A small town, starving artists, barely making rent in my city apartment. You're 20 out of 10, a number 1 in every department. Some nights you're the only one at the bar, while your man's the only one singing songs. Every night you're the only one at the bar, because I only had eyes for one. You found me praying. Now you got me raising. I said, baby, I need you daily. Doctor's orders and he ordered a prescription of you. Sexy or formal, I want friction with you. Jeans and boots on gals and suits, I'm never holding back, I'm pushing through. Doctor's orders, he ordered a prescription of you. Sexy or formal, I want the friction with you. Jeans and boots on gals and suits, I'm never holding back, I'm pushing through. But did you have a clue I'll be the only one to earn your love? Or was it too new? Long walks to mumbles, some nights I add the Ola for some just to crumble. Scrape knees and stumbles, learn from the pain, grow strong, stay humble. The cream of the crop, the queen of my heart, a love that never ends. So grateful that it starts. Let's turn off them lights and let's play in the dark. Doctor's orders and he ordered a prescription of you. Sexy or formal, I want the friction with you. Jeans and boots on gowns and suits, I'm never holding back, I'm pushing through. Doctor's orders, he ordered a prescription of you. Sexy or formal, I want the friction with you. Jeans and boots on gowns and suits, I'm never holding back, I'm pushing through. But did you have a clue I'll be the only one to earn your love? Or was it too new? This foundation, all 4 hands created. We built this foundation, all 4 hands created. Said we built this foundation, said all 4 hands created. Yes, they did, yeah. Let's turn off them lights and let's play in the dark. Doctor's orders and he ordered a prescription of you. Sexy or formal, I want friction with you. Jeans and boots or gowns and suits, I'm never holding back, I'm pushing through. Doctor's orders, he ordered a prescription of you. Sexy or formal, I want that friction with you. In jeans and boots, gowns and suits, never holding back, I'm pushing through. But did you have a clue I'll be the only one? Did you have a clue I'll be the only one? Well, did you have a clue I'll be the only one to earn your love? Or was it so new?
Wow. Okay, hold on. I got to stop the video here.
Oh, dang. Cool.
Woo!
It's a party.
All right. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. That was awesome, dude. Dang. Okay, so I take it back. I retract my original statement about Jack Johnson because that was way better than anything I've ever heard from Jack Johnson. So
Whoa, okay.
That was like moving, man. I was like, I couldn't help but move to that because like some of your songs are a little slower, kind of more relaxing music. That was like jamming, man. I was like, that's like the song that you see like the the people at Cashmere's, I could see them like getting up and like dancing to that, you know,
Dude,
like everyone's like kind of chilling out, and then you play that, and everyone's just gonna get up there and make it. Like I'll be doing the white guy dancing and stuff, and
we'll be playing that tonight. Yeah,
yeah, I might be actually coming. You know, if that's cool. I don't.
Of course,
okay.
dude. I'll put you on the list.
There's a list.
I mean, each band member can put 2 people on the list, so you don't have to pay to get in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or you could probably carry your guitar in, and that'd probably work too.
Awesome. Yeah, I can help you. Okay, very cool. Well, geez, that's awesome. So, I don't know how much time do we have? I don't want to. Do we have time for another song or
Whatever you want. We could do like another 5 minutes or so. We could talk a little more. We could do another song. Whatever you want.
Well, one thing I do, we always bring up the charities at the end. You kind of already hit on some of them, but you actually had like 4 charities that I was researching. So I don't know if you want to talk at all. I think, and tell me if I did the research right, but is it Arizona Healthcare Foundation,
Yeah.
Arizona Cancer for Children, the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund, the Ellen sponsors, and then there's something for domestic violence. I don't know.
Chrysalis.
What's it called?
The foundation is called Chrysalis.
Okay.
And they're a wonderful foundation. All of them are. All of
Okay.
them. I mean, they do incredible, world-changing, life-changing stuff. All 4 of them. And Chrysalis in particular, I just had a meeting with them. I haven't even really talked about this yet, but somebody suggested to me that I should start a nonprofit, and I'm going to do that.
Yeah, because you don't have enough on your plate. You know, what's one more thing?
Yeah, because also, even more importantly, after I was done with this, a friend of mine texted me and they said how amazing it was for me to run 16 marathons in a row for charity. Super awesome. But the thing that really got to me was they said, I hope you choose to continue to inspire. And it really hit me. And it sent my life for the couple months after the marathon into like real contemplation that I had never experienced before. I've always had a passion for music, and that was where I was going in my life. But now I realize that my passion is music, and that will never go away. But my purpose is obviously inspiration, because I got so many messages from people. There's a little girl named Peyton who's got cancer who was texting me while I was running, like, this is so much. This is so much more than me now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so by starting a nonprofit, one, we won't be letting what I did die.
Yeah.
It'll live on forever. But also to help me raise funds to do things again. And I just decided, another world premiere, we're going to do it again. So
you're going to run to Burbank again?
We didn't. Yes, March, same time frame, sometime March, April next year. We don't know exact dates yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it again. And, we didn't meet the objective. The objective was to raise $1 million for these amazing charities.
Yeah.
And my personal dream,
$15,000 is a lot of money.
Sure. I'm not saying that didn't.
Yeah.
But, my dream is to meet Ellen, to hand her that check personally.
Right.
And so,
isn't it also one of your goals is to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too, right?
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
I mean,
I like how you just have these goals and you're like, and you decide, and I think you're going to get there.
When you have something that you can see, it not only, man, I've been real into this concept, right? So like every day we're grinding towards something, right?
Yeah.
And like I'm on the grind and I embrace the grind. I love it, right? But you can also attract something. You can also pull something. So that's what I'm in the process of trying to do. And so I want to do this again. Somebody I really look up to, David Goggins, says, it's amazing for a man to go into deep waters once and feel that. But it's a whole different man that decides to go back in.
Yeah, I mean, you're a little crazy. I kind of like it, though.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hell yeah.
It's awesome.
Like, you got to be. But
Yeah.
it was a transformative experience for me, too. And I knew that going in. I didn't know what it would be, but it would have to be, right? Because there were days I was crying. There were days I was hurting. There were days I don't want to be out here doing this. And that's what that girl Peyton texted me, the little girl with cancer.
Yeah.
She texted me, thank you so much for what you're doing. Me and all these other kids in this unit are in pain, and it's not our choice. But you're choosing to go do this for us. And dude, that was a day I was struggling, bro.
Yeah.
I was really struggling that day, and that text came through.
Then you definitely can't give up on the cancer kid. You feel
dude.
so guilty.
And her whole family has been like super cool. Like that experience, like I feel like we're friends now.
That's very cool. Yeah, awesome. Well, do you want to do another song?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
My stand fell off the stairs.
No.
I don't know if you guys heard that bang, but
so let's see.
so it might be a little shaky here. I need to get a better tripod here. But
Let me think. Let's see here.
I feel I need like the Jeopardy music here. While you
I know. I don't know why. I don't know what. Well, I'll do the one that popped in my head.
Okay.
So this the title track off the album.
Okay.
It's on Spotify. Please follow me on Spotify. You'll find out when my new singles come out.
Okay.
But this is the title track off the album.
The video of this.
Yeah. It's called What's That Got to Do with My Dreams? And, you know, what it means to me is, like, despite the stuff that goes on in life, you still get up and you got to handle what you got to handle. You got to move towards your dreams. So. What's that got to do with my dreams? What's that got to do with my dreams? Tuesday morning, open my eyes, coffee table, ain't no surprise. Still that pile of bills, and it's weighing on me. Miss my youth, I felt carefree. Southwest gas and a city tax. Paying back student loans in the IRS for rising bill, APS, minimum payment, top of enslavement. Yeah. Citizens content to just be one of the sheep. Nobody no longer uses their eyes to see. But what's that gotta do with my dreams? What's that gotta do with my dreams? When life tries to take away everything that means everything to me, what's that gotta do with my dreams? Next morning, no time to digest a leaky water pump, a failed emissions test. Every day gets harder, try to stay above water. There's a cracked tube in my blues, Junior. Every day something break, the dollars get fewer. There's a rumor that the future is it's going down, but what's that gotta do with my dreams? What's that gotta do with my dreams? When life tries to take away everything that means everything to me, what's that gotta do with my dreams? How much flesh will they take before casting me away? My soul's been pushed overboard, yeah. There's a feeling you'll get when surrounded by carnivores, and your money's all gone, but there's still things to pay for. What's that gotta do with my dreams? What's that gotta do with my dreams? When life tries to take away everything that means everything to me, what's that gotta do with my dreams? I said, what's that got to do? What's that got to do with my dreams? Thank you, man.
Oh, that was really good. Wow. I'm loving this, man. This is going to be great. I definitely, if I don't go to the show tonight, I'm definitely going to catch you.
I'll be there again next Friday.
I think I'm trying to figure out how I started following you in the first place. I must have seen you perform and then went to your Facebook and was like, oh, I'm going to follow this guy. I love live music. And
Yeah, me too.
it's so cool that you perform all over the valley. So if you're in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, definitely check him out. He's everywhere. He's basically played every live music venue. If you don't know where live music is, just go to his Facebook or his website, and you can find out where he's playing. There's going to be live music almost every night. So very cool. I mean, you've done a lot from jamming with Buddy Guy to running 16 marathons in 16 days. You still need to get on the Ellen Show. And like I said, the ultimate goal is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But again, you can check your website for tour dates, Facebook. I think you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and MySpace. Probably not MySpace.
There's something floating around from the old band there.
Yeah, probably.
I couldn't tell you I couldn't get in that account if I tried.
Yeah, but tonight is Cashmere's, and it looks
Full
like
band.
I noticed that Esteban plays there a lot. Did you ever meet him?
I've done an event where I was playing right after him at the Hyatt.
Oh, okay.
And I know that they're doing something special at Cashmere.
I kind of want to see him.
What was funny is I was there doing a gig. I was doing like a happy hour thing at Cashmere's.
Yeah.
And he was just wrapping up, doing a sound check and checking out the space because Cashmere's has new owners and they've really done some nice things with it. And he really liked it. And dude, he's such like a humble, down to earth guy. Like you never know what to expect with people. You know? I mean, the dude like was holding the door open for my drummer, and like he's just such a nice guy.
That's very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to promote? Your music's on Spotify too, and
that's probably the biggest thing.
iTunes
Like follow me on Spotify. Then you'll get notified. That song I played, Doctor's Orders, will be coming out later this year, and
cool.
I did record 2 other singles. So, what's gonna happen for me and my business plan? Always got something sort of plan. Is I recorded 3 singles, and as soon as this Doctor's Orders drops, I don't know when yet. I'm waiting for the final mix. But once that drops, that's going to start a new thing for me. And when that starts, every 3 months, I'm going to put out a new single. Yeah,
that's the times we're living in. It used to be the singles with the Beatles and stuff, and then it moved to the albums, and now it's going back to the singles. So that's the way to go. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Eternally grateful for you coming on the show and performing and telling us all your personal stuff that was like really fascinating to me. And I apologize for keeping you a little bit longer than I said I would, but we're going to get you to the show. And is there anything else?
No, man. I'm super grateful too, man.
Okay.
Thank you for reaching out and for having me, man.
Yeah. Thanks again for being on. All right. Thanks, Lee.